Greetings, Hairenik media. We're honored to be joined today by Artak Beglaryan, the former ombudsman and state minister of Artsakh and the chairman of Artsakh Union NGO. Thank you, Artak, for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me here.
We know that Artsakhi's right to return to their homeland is a crucial part of our mission for all Armenians. At which stage is this realization of this right?
Very initial stage, if shortly. If a bit longer, we have a situation when the Armenian government considers the return of the Artsakh people as a threat for the national security of Armenia, and they consider that this topic is closed. In the case when they have the primary responsibility to deal with this issue and to implement our return, both as Armenian party negotiating over settlement of the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict for more than 3 decades, and as a country which has that national responsibility, and as a country which has accepted us as refugees after our forcible displacement and genocide. And fourthly, as a country which applied to the International Court, particularly UN International Court of Justice, and upon the request of the Armenian government, ICJ made a ruling saying that this safe, dignified and sustainable and prompt return is a must. But nevertheless, the Armenian government doesn't want to implement its own responsibilities. But in parallel with that, we, I mean the Artsakh people community, want to return. We raise our voice at all possible platforms internationally, saying that we want to return. And also we see some initiatives at the international level and diaspora level, let's say Swiss parliament resolution, the Belgian parliament resolution, many other statements by different parliament members or politicians, and which means that there is an increasing process globally supporting our return, which is a must for a sustainable and dignified peace in the region.
You mentioned the resolutions that we now see rolling in, but many of these international organizations, the media and the Western world at large, they were silent during the 9-month starvation blockade during the siege of Artsakh. Why do you think that is, that they are only getting to this topic now?
The main reason is geopolitics, especially after the launch of Russian-Ukrainian war in 2022. The world order collapsed, and the world started to look at international relations much more through the prism of geopolitics than world order. I mean, written norms, international law principles, etc. And that's why the West and Russia looked at our problem, including the blockade, through their geopolitical interests. And since the West wanted Nagorno-Karabakh or Artsakh to be controlled and conflict settled, and they thought that the best possible or the most possible approach is Azerbaijani subjugation. That's why the West actually aided and abetted the genocide. And Russia also abetted the genocide of our people and ethnic cleansing because Russia didn't want very direct and large confrontation with Turkey and Azerbaijan, and Russia was and is busy mostly in the Ukrainian topic. And that's why also peacekeepers were silent, and they didn't do anything to protect us. And the West also was silent, and even there was no statement at the UN Security Council emergency meetings when we had 3 emergency meetings during the blockade. And the second reason, which is interconnected with the first reason, is the recognition of Artsakh as a part of Azerbaijan by the Armenian government. Actually started since April of 2022, then Prague Memorandum, declaration in October of 2022, then much more openly and directly during the blockade, when Nikol Pashinyan publicly stated that yes, Nagorno-Karabakh is a part of Azerbaijan, etc., and we don't consider the right to self-determination of the Artsakh people, etc. And this gave a green light to the Aliyev regime to continue the same genocidal policy, and this gave an opportunity for both Russia and the West to avoid their own responsibilities to protect our people and to prevent possible international crimes. And that's why also we say that for us, for Armenians, the first and the most important reason for failing is the inaction and the position of the Armenian government during and prior to the blockade.
You mentioned that Pashinyan recognized Artsakh as Azerbaijan. After that, when the Artsakh Republic institution started functioning in Armenia, he also stated that this is a danger to the Armenian Republic, that there cannot be a state within a state. And then he proceeded with criminal proceedings against President Shahramanyan and many also local mayors and other governors. Why do you think that they are pursuing the dissolution of a democratically elected government of Artsakh Republic, and what are the dangers in this?
It's a part of Pashinyan's ideology that Artsakh is a burden, Artsakh is an obstacle, and Artsakh is a way of controlling Armenia. And mostly they are saying in the hand of Russia. And considering all of those 3 factors in his ideology, he considers Artsakh as a problem. Both domestically problem in the domestic politics and externally problem. And since Pashinyan doesn't want any conflict and clash, even with pro-Armenian, let's say, with all kind of arguments, but he doesn't want any conflict with Turkey and Azerbaijan. And he wants to solve the conflict with Azerbaijan and Turkey, even at the expense of Artsakh, and even more. Secondly, he doesn't want the Artsakh topic to be something to pressure Armenia, let's say by Russia or other forces. And thirdly, he considers this problem, let's say the Artsakh problem, as a threat for his authority domestically, because he made lots of failures, and the opposition rightly criticizes, and the people, the Armenian people, criticize Pashinyan for this failure. And that's why he wants to show that Artsakh itself was a failure, and it's not his failure, it's the failure of others and the formers, let's say. And now it's also a problem. That's why he is targeting us. I mean, firstly, the Artsakh state institutions, because those institutions are legitimate institutions and can mobilize the Artsakh people. And secondly, all possible Artsakh organizations and possible public leaders who can be factors of mobilization of the Artsakh people. Because if we are mobilized, then we can continue our fight for our rights, both domestically and for our return, for our right to self-determination, etc. And these are the main reasons why Pashinyan is targeting the Artsakh institutions and Artsakh leaders. And unfortunately, I think that in the upcoming months and just prior to the elections, these attacks will be much more and more brutal, let's say, and we will see new scenarios, new developments.
Given this anti-Artsakh context and political climate fostered by the ruling party, how protected are the rights of Artsakhis, legal rights, social rights under this regime in Armenia?
Actually, there are large general problems domestically, both in terms of legal status and social rights. Some problems are solved, but the key issue is strategy. The Armenian government doesn't want us to live collectively, to keep our identity, but they want us at least to be assimilated here in Armenia, saying that it is integration, but we don't have integration problem. Secondly, even they don't mind if we are living Armenia, because keeping the Artsakh people in Armenia, which it means that Pashinyan may have additional headache, let's say, domestically and externally. And their social policy from this perspective is a challenge for us. Though somewhat so far we had some stable situation because of monthly, just due to the monthly financial support to our people for renting purposes, but just recently they have withdrawn this financial support, and now we have just radical and rapid exacerbation of the situation, and which has triggered additional waves of immigration, mostly for Russia. And we have very shortly, the first problem, as I said, is just social stable situation, especially in terms of housing, because the housing program itself is not an effective program. And unless there is an effective housing program and just housing program, we should get, the Artsakh people should get financial support by the government. And the second problem, again, is interconnected. That's employment and sustainable income generation. And so far, the Armenian government programs were not successful to encourage employment of the Artsakh people and to have sustainable solutions. And we want that the housing and employment programs should be very deeply and thoroughly interconnected, and to have just long-term sustainable solutions for our people. But unfortunately, they are not open even to discuss our concerns, our proposals, etc. And the third problem is legal status, and there are lots of interconnected problems with this. And since they consider us refugees, and since October of 2023, actually, de facto, they have cancelled our Armenian citizenship. But by October of 2023, we enjoyed all the rights of Armenian citizens. And now saying that we are not citizens, we face lots of additional problems, including employment, different kind of social benefits, etc. And they consider now the acceptance of Armenian citizenship, let's say applying for Armenian citizenship, as a necessary condition for getting support within the framework of housing program, which is itself is an obstacle, also additional obstacle, why people don't want to apply for this housing program, because people have lots of fears, people have lots of mistrusts against the Armenian government policies, and we have failure of communication with our people.
I see. One of the consequences of Artsakh ethnic cleansing was that the military and political leadership of the republic is taken hostage in Baku, and the Shem trials are ongoing. Why have our efforts to release them not been successful so far? Who must champion these efforts?
The first champion should be the Armenian government, for sure. And we can say that they are not effective. And even we see that from time to time, at least in terms of certain leaders, the Armenian authorities and personally Pashinyan is not interested in their return and in their release, because for a few times he and many other representatives of the ruling party have targeted our hostages in Baku, which shows that they have not done and they are not doing their best to release. For sure, we understand that it's not an easy task, even if they have done a lot and all possible steps to release them. We are not sure that everyone would be released so far, but at least I believe that some of them have been released already, because Armenia had some opportunities and levers in order to trade off for our hostages, including COP29 decision, after that the demarcation and delimitation in Kirans and other parts of Tavush, and some other practical just trade-offs that have been made between Armenia and Azerbaijan with some mediation. And even now, in order to sign the peace treaty, the Armenian government doesn't say that releasing hostages is a precondition for signing the peace treaty. But this is a must. And even more, the release of hostages is not a part of the treaty, Armenian-Azerbaijani treaty, which means that we don't exclude that even after possible signing of the treaty, the hostages will be stayed there in Azerbaijan. And what we can do, I mean, the Armenian nation, local and diaspora organizations, civil society of the Republic of Armenia, we should increase the pressure over the government. For sure, we should increase the pressure over other governments too, international organizations also, directly, not only through the Armenian government channels, in order to increase pressure over Aliyev. I mean, overall, we have two options. Either to pressure Aliyev in order to release them, or to give benefits to Aliyev in order to release them. The both options require proactive, productive, and effective steps by the Armenian government, and also our efforts at the international level at different countries in order to pressure Aliyev or negotiate with Aliyev also by other governments without Armenian government.
I see. One final question. What can be done? You're a former human rights defender. What can we do to champion the rights of Artsakh and the POWs independent of the government, whether it's in the diaspora or here?
First, to improve the capacities and the institutions of the Artsakh people. Civil society organizations, for sure, the state institutions, in order to empower the Artsakh institutions to raise our voice. Because we are quite weak, we don't have any resources, and we are under attacks of the Armenian government and many other stakeholders, and also Azerbaijan as a whole. Which means that empowering the Artsakh community, state institutions and civil society institutions is a must. Secondly, to build additional institutions and bridges and networks among the Armenian nation organizations. I mean, diaspora organizations, Armenia-based organizations who are interested in protecting the rights of the Artsakh people. And we are quite divided because of lots of problems and because of the interventions of the Armenian authorities. But we have much, much more opportunities and resources, human and material resources, then we are realizing that. And I'm saying this about the Armenian nation, both in Armenia and diaspora, but this is true also at the international arena. But if we are mobilized and effective enough at the Armenian national level, after that we can scale up our efforts at the international level. And for sure here the Armenian government is the number one stakeholder, but even without them we can do a lot which has not been done so far.
Thank you. This was a really comprehensive overview.
Thanks, you too.
We were joined today by Artak Beglaryan, chairman of the Artsakh Union and former human rights defender and state minister of Artsakh Republic. See you next time.